My question is, were aeroplanes invented for this purpose and for this purpose only? Oh, no, 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 no. Aeroplanes were invented as a service for mankind to fly people all around the world at their leisure and pleasure. Yeah? Right now, I'm thinking differently. I'm thinking that aeroplanes were invented and perfected for this purpose and this purpose only. Apart from wars and dropping bombs on people. But to think that aeroplanes are a beneficial thing for us so that we can go to Australia, America, and South Africa, and Russia, and all these different countries all over the world, that we can now just jump in our car, zip around to the airport, jump on a big 747, and land in San Francisco. You know, a friend of mine took a flight there recently from Paris to San Francisco. He was asking me why did he stop off in Iceland. I said it's a fucking straight line. He still didn't get it. But I am not buying that airplanes were invented for the benefit of mankind. I am stating that airplanes were invented for this purpose, that we have to go suffer through right now. Because you had the world full of planes. Every country had its national airline, and then you have numerous other little, oh look at that hammock, airlines that have lots and lots of airplanes. There's lots and lots and lots of new airplanes, and everyone's buying new airplanes for 100 million, 250 million. And then suddenly, 4 years ago, we had a big disease, yeah, which closed the whole world down. Grounded every airline, grounded all flights. Did this big disease give a fuck about the billions and millions that Boeing and Airbus are making profit? No, it didn't. Did it care about the airline companies themselves? I can't remember how many went bust. No, not. But then what happens is, suddenly, all these airlines, all these aircraft are all grounded all over the world, some of them brand new, and they're all flown into these obscure airports with huge runways and huge parking areas all over the world, and then they're just sit there put in mothballs, yeah. And suddenly, immediately, you've got thousands of unused spare aircraft worth billions and trillions of dollars. Oh, shit, Captain, what are we going to do now? I got an idea. Why don't we destroy the fucking world? Why don't we use all these aircraft right now, kit them out with all this, these big canisters full of all this dark shit that they're spreading, these heavy metals, strontium, barium, aluminium, and others I can't remember. This is one of the first days I've had my feet off. My feet off. My fucking feet off. I still got my feet back on. My shoes off. Just today it's almost 30 degrees. So suddenly they've got a surplus of aircraft. And during the lockdown, during the time when all the airline companies are all grounded and all the aircraft are on the ground and people aren't going anywhere, suddenly they're unleashed into the sky. And I noticed it, the huge increase when this big disease hit 4 years ago. Huge increase in air traffic. And it hasn't ceased since, even though the world has kind of gotten back on its feet again. Many of these airline companies did not get back on their feet. They all went bust. The big ones that had some protection didn't. But did these people who brought this disease around, did they give a fuck about the economy of the world? Not a fucking bit. It didn't matter. Big people like BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, this lot, they were all capable of buying Boeing, buying many of the largest airline companies in the world. So it wasn't a problem for them just to close them down. They're buying up everything so that they can close it down and destroy it. But you try and say that to somebody, oh no, how could they do that? Why would they destroy the economy? They wouldn't do that. It was a big disease. We had no control over it. And it killed millions and millions of people. And if it wasn't for the governments and all the nice governments that we have that put on masks on everybody, closed down every shop, closed down the nail bar, closed down the hair salon. I saw people with fucking very long hair 6 months into this fucking disease. You couldn't get their hair cut anywhere. If you went to get your hair cut somewhere, you get fucking arrested. Anyway, where was I? Airplanes. Yeah. So, do they give a fuck about you, me, our economy, our jobs, our bills that we have to pay? No, they just put everything up. But did they give a fuck about the largest companies in the world that depend on everybody in the world spending money on them every day in order for them to keep afloat? They did not. They didn't give a fuck. When they needed to pull off their scam, they did not give a fuck who suffered the world over. But anyway, looking up into the sky this evening and just seeing we could play noughts and crosses, and I look over at the horizon. It was much worse earlier on, and now the wind has blown it away a bit and they've kind of died down. Maybe they've moved to a different direction. But it's beautiful here, and I'm having lovely days sitting under this cherry tree which is blossoming right now, and the sky is all turning hazy grey. Yeah. So that's what I think ultimately the airplanes were invented for. They needed to perfect the technology. They've got the technology perfected now. If it wasn't for all the work that they did down through the years improving aircraft and making them reliable to get to this stage right now where they can take them and fly them constantly all over. We're talking billions and trillions of dollars these aircrafts all cost. If I counted how many aircraft were up there at once spraying the sky, I could come up with a figure. There's $10 billion worth of aircraft right there. But then you know, you go 50 miles south of here, there's another fucking $10 billion worth of aircraft doing the same shit down there. Same north, same east, same west, all across Europe, the US, basically the English speaking world. They're talking trillions that they don't give a fuck about. They will destroy the entire world so that they are in charge again when the whole world is being rebuilt back up again. So I think that this was their ultimate goal, to have this vast stock of aircraft available for their nefarious plans once the day comes to kick off the plague and close the world down. They're already set in place, and then they can just walk in and take over all of these airplanes that have been grounded, kit them out and send them up into the sky. Captain, yes, Did you lose your job? Yes. Do you want another job? Yes. Doing what? Doing what you love doing most of all, flying. You love flying. That's what pilots are like. They love flying so much that to take it away from them is like taking the candy away from a baby. They've got no life. They're sitting there on the ground looking out through the window. Can't think. They just love flying. They're all going to be fucking birds in their next lives. You want a job, Captain? Yeah, well, okay, sign this piece of paper here. And this is a non-disclosure agreement. If you say anything about this to anybody, we will fucking destroy you. If you deviate your aircraft off course from where we are sending you, then we will remote control you out across the ocean and you will never be heard from again. So, yeah, the pilots that lost their jobs and took these other jobs, flying around the sky right now, spraying us with all this shit, because I don't think that these aircraft have any passengers in them whatsoever, not commercial. Those pilots, that's selling your soul. They sold out. There's no redemption for them. But do they care about mankind? No. What they care about is their pleasure, their job, their flying. And they're up there getting paid to screw the world. And they don't give a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck. Ultimately, money talks. And if you offer them enough money, they will keep their mouths shut. They will sign the agreement. And they will go up there and they will fucking plaster us with all this shit. And I tell you, I'm fucking fed up with it. This morning was a beautiful blue sky. This is the warmest day it's been here so far this year. As I say, it's almost 30 degrees. And they have to spoil it. Their ultimate goal really hasn't been revealed yet. Some say they are creating a film, a layer of reflective something in the sky so that they can start pulling off this holographic fake alien invasion scam that they're talking about. Everybody's on about. And well, on top of that, we are also told, oh yeah, but then the rain comes down and it takes all this heavy metals down with it. It gets in your fruit, your vegetables, your food, and you can't avoid it. You go to the shop to buy a fucking aubergine and there's a fucking half a kilo of lead in it. Yeah. Some say that that's what it's all about, the poisoning us. But I've noticed that when you see a trail con crossing the sky and 10 minutes later you see another one coming in the opposite direction, or they crisscross, the previous one has risen up and the fresh trail is underneath it. So the shit is not falling down, it's rising up. So it's all linked together with their HARP magnetic interference system. We're told then they're able to control storms and hurricanes magnetically, because there are so many heavy metals in the clouds of the hurricane that they can, using powerful magnets, hold it and control it in one spot. Hurricanes keep going until they dissipate. They come in off the ocean at 250 miles per hour winds. Then it all slows down to 150 miles an hour as it hits land, and as it goes across land, it dissipates. But the big hurricane that hit Houston, Texas, was it 7 or 8 years ago? It sat over Houston for 5 days. Hurricanes don't do that unless you're able to control it magnetically. So that's why airplanes were invented, for this purpose and this purpose only, apart from using them to drop the odd bomb on people. But they certainly weren't created for the benefit of mankind, so that man can travel the world and educate himself and learn more and be more interactive with the world, and make friends in other continents and help people in other places. After all this is all over, I think there will be no more commercial air travel, not available anyway to your ordinary general public, but maybe just for the wealthiest, the very wealthy. Because right now it's very hard to get on an aircraft right now without somebody seeing somebody with a demon face on board and freaking out and fucking scaring the shit out of every other passenger on the airplane, getting dragged off, and then dozens and hundreds of videos over YouTube showing us all these people freaking out. That motherfucker is not real. What the fuck is going on? Yeah, I tell you what they're doing as well. The people who see these demon-faced people, they're blaming them. The guy hasn't got a demon face. The guy is not a shapeshifter. The guy is not a fucking alien robot. The problem is with you. You see him with a demon face. That's your problem. You're suffering from this disease. What do they call it? They call it prosopometamorphopsia. Is that what they call it? Prosopometamorphopsia. Holy shit. How did I catch that? You sat beside some fucker on the airplane, man, and that's how you caught it. But I was wearing a mask. It doesn't matter. It sneaks in behind them. It comes in through your fucking brain, into your mind. So, with all this shit going on, people freaking out on board airplanes, somebody's going to come up with something soon and saying, we are going to have to restrict air travel. To who? To everybody. Why? Because everybody could catch this disease, and the next thing we could have a big fight on board the fucking airplane, and somebody might get chucked out through a window. And then everybody goes out through the same fucking window straight after them. So I think air travel is going to come to an end. This is the end of it. Whatever happens, whatever all the hundreds and dozens of little things that they're going to have to get together to end the world, when it's over, you probably won't have any TV, you probably won't have any phone communications, you will have no ability to travel, your car won't be allowed to use gasoline or diesel, the insurance on one would be so high, the taxes will be so high, ground everybody while your garden is contaminated, and the whole transport and communication system that the world runs on will come to a halt. And in that way, you can have your famine and your pestilence. Yeah? And it's very hard for us as individuals to chase these crazy bald heads out of town, isn't it? They're the ones with all the might. They're the ones with all the arms. Yep. It's time to feed the lions to the Christians. That's what we have to do. How are we going to do that? How can you even put an army of men together to stand together to go against this? If you started a group of 20 people to really do something and stand up and go against all of this, you would have for sure an informer in the ranks and all your plans would be scuppered. It's impossible to take them on right now. You couldn't put a group of people together right now to clean the world up, because they have infiltrated every aspect of society, and you would be locked up, chained up, and in a cell underground somewhere, never to be seen again. There's nothing you can do. Revelation. If the truth could be revealed to the world, if we had the opportunity of getting across to the people of the world, because we need to incite a revelation to avoid a revolution. Only education, educating the people, will maybe avoid, postpone, avoid the horrible shit that they've got planned for us all. Education is the most important thing. And daily I see people waking up. I see videos of people talking about truths, even people talking about flat earth. And they're talking, I saw a video last night, Dave Weiss, with a school teacher and a full class full of students. And they're all asking questions. He's answering their questions. I think the school teacher was a flat earther. It begins here. It actually just begins before that. It begins with, if you can convince someone that the moon landings were fake. Look, I'm repairing dodgy walls here. The moon landings were faked. If you can show someone the actual truth about the moon landings and how the likes of NASA are scamming us, then the next step is that they're lying to us about the shape of the earth. They're lying to us about this fucking globe suspended in the vacuum of space. These things wake people up. Then suddenly they'll realize when you talk to them next that the big disease that we just had was a great big scam, and it was all planned to give them fucking absolute control and to be able to take all the airplanes off the world and use them against us. And bit by bit, day by day, one by one, it's a one by one thing. Once you try to get through to the masses, they'll come and shut you down. But when you're sitting talking to someone on a one-to-one basis, that's different. That's how the message gets across. When you can show someone the truth, they can bring that and they can show that to somebody else. And this revelation that the world urgently needs is the only thing that can avoid the revolution that they're planning. And we'll go along with the revolution, but it has to suit us. We can't be going along with the revolution that they have planned to suit them, or to revolve, to turn the wheel 360 degrees and to fuck our lives up completely. Look, man, look. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, all going in the one direction. 5. Yeah. We paid, taxpayers' money paid for all these airplanes. See, so when we pay our taxes, and those taxes pay for these airplanes to blast us, to them, we're doing it to ourselves. It's our fault. We have consented, although we haven't, but as far as they're concerned, we have consented to them doing this to us simply because we paid for it. It's the same as your medicine. You go to the doctor, doctor, terrible pain right here. Okay, here, take these. You take them and you go home, and you're dead. But it's not the doctor's fault. You consented to taking them, and that's the way they see it. They didn't tell you, oh, hey, this is fucking poison. Don't take this shit. It's up to us to figure it out for ourselves that it's poisonous and we're not supposed to take it. But when we pay for it, when we pay for our own demise, in their eyes, we have consented to our own demise. And they're laughing. And then after you're gone, your estate has to be divided up amongst this lot and that lot, and your family and your nieces, nephews, grandchildren, children. And each one has his own fucking lawyer. So everything works to their advantage. So if they do happen to wipe half of us out, or as many of us as they do wipe out, look at these great shoes of mine, I still have them after all these years, then they're not guilty, because we paid for it ourselves and we consented for them to do it to us by paying for it. So I'm not telling anybody not to pay their taxes, but there was a recent case down around here. I'm going to end with this. Some guy had not paid his taxes, his property taxes, and he was working on his house, and he had a few guys there working under the table, and these two bureaucratic assholes showed up at his house. Monsieur, go in there and get us your papers. We want to see your paperwork. We want to see your tax returns. And we want to see all of the paperwork of all of these people that you have here working on your house. Yeah. Guy went in the house, took out a shotgun, and shot the fucking both of them dead. Yeah. Now, I was just about to say proper order, but then I won't say proper order, right? That's not really all that nice thing to do anyway. But I'll tell you what happened in the weeks after that. The local cops went around every farmer and every builder and everybody in the area who had workers working on the black under the table for him and said, listen, if you've got anybody here on your books that shouldn't be here, hide them for a few days, because there are inspectors going around. So the cops came out and informed the people, hide, if you've got anything that they're going to nail you for, get it out of the way right now. They didn't want any fucking more murders. But this is the attitude that people have around here. They send these dickheads around your house, they start demanding this and that from you, and people have just reached breaking point. Guy went in, he's in prison now. He got in, grabbed a shotgun and blew the fucking two of them to hell, back to hell where they came from. So people are not happy. They're not happy to pay all these taxes and stuff. So, but do not take my advice and just suddenly stop paying your taxes. We just need to have a way of approaching these demands in the correct manner and revealing the truth and exposing them as a bunch of fucking thieves. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I gotta go. 30 minutes. I shouldn't really be torturing you with all this bullshit that's going through my head. Anyway, Zorro, look, the son of a bitch. Yeah, alright. I think I'll leave it at that. I'm starving. It's a Saturday. I haven't had any lunch, actually. Fuck that. Alright, everybody. I got some proper videos coming soon, so stay loose.